What's up, Internet? In this video, I'm going to show you guys my level 150 Faith build and hopefully give you guys some ideas on how you can create your character in this game. I also want to show you what I find to be the best and most effective Faith and Lightning weapons in the game as well, so we'll go over all that. So let's start with my stats. As I said, level 150. For Vigor, I find that with a character that is going to be using melee, which I do use with this character, you need a lot of health in this game. I wouldn't say health is as important for a character that's focusing on sorcery, and I do have a sorcery character that I'll probably make a video like this for in the future, but yeah, I definitely think health is important for a Faith build. So I got 30 on Vigor, Endurance 23, and I have it set up that way so I can get 3 heavy attacks with the sword I use most often. For Vitality, I have it set up to 14. Now, your Vitality is going to change based on what armor you decide you want to use. In this game, I mean, armor is important, and the best armors are generally heavier, but I mean, it really matters. It really is based on what you think looks cool overall. There are some equipments that you can swap for effects, like some leggings will prevent or reduce falling damage, etc. But I mean, generally speaking, it's just based on what you like. So whatever armor you choose, you're going to want to bring your vitality down to the minimum so you're not wasting any. As you can see right now with this armor and this setup, I have exactly 70% of my equip burden, which allows me to do a fast roll. So that's what you want to do. For attunement, I have it set to 13, which is very low, but to make up for that, I'm using the ring, I forget what it's called, Ritual Band or whatever, that gives you extra attunement slots. So I would have only 2 slots if my ring was not equipped right now, but with it equipped, I have 5 slots. Strength, I have to 20, and that's what you need to wield the Defender Greatsword, which is what I'm using. Dex is to 15. Now you only need 14 to use the Defender Greatsword, but the Thorned Greatsword is also very good for lightning, so that one requires 15. So for that reason, I've set that to 15. Adaptability, that's where you're going to usually take points off to add them for your vitality, because from what I've found, between 96 and 100 agility is really like good enough for invincible frames for your roll. So you can lose a couple of points in adaptability if you need them in, you know, something else like vitality, where you're going to equip something a little heavier than what I have. Intelligence is completely unnecessary for this build because I'm not using any dark or sorcery, and I have my faith up to 65. Now, there is one spell in the game that requires, I think, 65 faith to use. It's called the Sunlight something, whatever. It sucks. The highest requirement for a spell that you're going to need, I mean, for not a spell, for a miracle that you're going to need is for the, let me fucking look at it. I forget all the names. For this one right here, you're gonna need 55 for the Sunlight Spear, and this Sunlight Spear is the one that you get through the Covenant for getting 30 gold medals or whatever, for helping people or doing it yourself in co-op. So that's how you get that spell, and that's really the highest requirement you need. So 55 is all you would technically need in Faith. However, the extra 10 points is there to add damage for the scaling for the greatswords and the weapons that I'm using. So that's basically the stats. Now let me show you the setup I'm using. So I'm currently using the Throne Defender helmet, basically just because it looks cool. However, prior to this, I was using the King's Crown, which actually, though it is not listed, it actually has a hidden effect, which is it gives you +3 to faith as well as intelligence. So I was using this, but I found that the +3 to faith that I get gives me almost no damage bonus. So basically, I'd rather have the higher defense. And I just selected this one because it's a cool looking helmet. Otherwise, I'm using the King's Armor, which is all obtained after you defeat Vendrick and you go back to the Shrine of Amana. and it's behind some bushes or some shit. So that's where you get that. For weapon, I'm gonna show you guys a couple different options for weapons, but I guess we should talk about rings first. So for rings, I'm using the Chloranthy +2, which is obtained by defeating the Chariot Executioner Chariot, and that's in New Game Plus. You have to beat it in New Game Plus to get this. Clear Bluestone Ring is to increase cast speed. So generally, Faith builds have really shitty cast speed. So I think this really is important for especially PvP, because a lot of these spells are very telegraphed if you don't have a faster cast speed. Southern Ritual Band +2. These are all obtained in New Game Plus by beating certain bosses, so you can look them up to find out how to get them. But this adds attunement slots. So my attunement is only to, I forgot what it was, but very low. The minimum requirement to have 2 slots is what mine is at. But with this you can get 5 slots, which is important because the Sunlight Spear requires 2 slots to have equipped. So that's the ring setup, and of course the third dragon ring is exceptionally good. I feel like every build should have this, because what it does is it increases your HP, stamina, and maximum equip load. So I mean, that's a lot of benefits for one single ring slot. And you get these items, a lot of these items are either late game or in New Game Plus, so hopefully you realize that. For a weapon, my main weapon I'm using is the Lightning Defender Greatsword +5. This weapon is unique because it actually has a special L2. When you go two-handed, the L2 will actually buff this weapon. So this is very unique, because when this weapon is leveled up to +5 and lightning infused, it has a really good scaling to lightning. It has an S scaling. So after you buff this, you're actually doing up to 700 damage per swing. So this weapon is exceptionally good because it's a great sword, but it almost does ultra great sword damage if you have this buff set up. So it's really, really effective in my opinion. Casting this spell, or casting this buff, does take away, I think, 10% of your durability, so you have to keep that in mind. And I am using the dragon chime. It's basically the best chime in the game. There's no reason to ever use another one. It has the most damage and the fastest cast speed, so very, very good chime, and it's very light too. And for a shield, I'm using the Blossom Kite Shield. This is because it has really high defense, and I mean, it's not really high defense, but it's fairly high. But the effect on it is that it has a boost to your stamina recovery, and I think that's extremely important, especially in PvP. So that basically covers one setup that I use with this character. Got some water. But the other layout that I can use with this character that I think is pretty effective is, oh, I should mention the other option you have for a sword without any other changes is the Lightning Thorned Greatsword +5. So the special thing about this weapon is that the two-handed attack, when you do the R2, shoots lightning out, and it's a unique attack. Now this is really, really good. It does a ton of damage, but as you can see, my weapon durability is going down by quite a bit. So you can use this, but you're gonna basically run out of ammo and your weapon's gonna break pretty quickly. Otherwise, the base damage of this weapon is higher than the Defender Greatsword without the buff that the Defender Greatsword has. So these are your two options for Greatswords for Faith with this build. You also have another option that I like to use, and what that is you can lose the chime. Let me show you. You lose the chime and you use the disc chime, which is also a shield. So if you equip either one of these great swords and switch this to the disc chime, what you can do is essentially you can cast your miracles with your shield, and that way you don't need the dragon chime. That's another option if you want to be able to block as well as parry, as well as cast your miracles at the same time. A similar option to that which is decent, is you can lose the disc chime and use the mace of the insolent. What this is it's a mace, and it has a really shitty move list, but it can cast miracles as well as attack. So you can kind of combo into miracles. So that's pretty decent as well. But what I like to do with this setup is I like to carry the lightning longsword because it has a much faster move list, and it has a long range two-handed R2. So switching between these two weapons is pretty effective in hand-to-hand. As far as the miracles I'm using, I have, as I mentioned, I have 5 slots. So I'm using the Lightning Great Spear, which is, I forget where you find these, you can figure that out. The Sunlight Spear is a more effective version of that. The Great Magic Barrier I use in PvP. It just raises your defenses to elementals. And Emit Force is just extra ammo when you need it. So basically that's my main faith setup in this game. As I mentioned, there are several different varieties of variations of this build that you can do, but I find that this is basically the best way you could do it at level 150, at least using the weapons that I've chosen to use. But you do have a lot of options with this layout, so that's what I like about it. You can switch around to quite a few different weapons and still be pretty effective in both PvP and PvE. Hopefully this gave you guys some good ideas on how to build a character in this game. I do think I'm going to make a couple more of these videos sometime in the future, talking about a couple of the other characters I've put together. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy.